So, you say you want to dent the universe, make a lasting impact felt for generations, do something significant, build an endurable legacy. Here's the problem. Those that we deem as visionaries didn't start out with a grand vision at all. In fact, if they had, they likely would never have achieved their grand outcomes. You see, the grander your vision, the greater your ambition, the further out into the future you are projecting. The more likely you are going to be wrong, the less likely you are to endure. Most every great visionary that you admire started small, super small, insignificant even. They did something unscalable, unimpressive even. Bill Gates wrote a basic interpreter for a machine with a couple thousand users. Steve Jobs, with Woz, built homemade computers in their garage for a circle of their friends. Jeff Bezos started selling books online from his garage. Mark Zuckerberg set up a website for him and his douchey buddies to rate the girls hot or not on the Harvard campus. Coco Chanel opened up a small shop in Paris in 1910 to just sell hats. Phil Knight started selling Japanese running shoes from the trunk of his car. Reed Hastings started a mail-order DVD rental service. Walt Disney began with a small animation studio that failed. Estee Lauder began selling skin creams that she made at home to local salons and hotels. I could go on and on and on. None of these legendary entrepreneurs started with some grand vision. But what all these great visionaries did do is start. They started, and they started small, super small, insignificant even. They did something unscalable, unimpressive even. They started where they were. They did all they could with what was in front of them at the time, even when it was small, insignificant, unscalable, and even unimpressive. I bring this to you today because I hear too many people complain or make the excuse of they don't have a big idea. They want to make a big impact, they want to be massively successful, but they're not visionary enough to know how. So they think that there's something wrong with them. Maybe they're not gifted or anointed or capable. Maybe it's not for them. That is BS. That's not it at all. All these visionaries did was start. They started small and then progressed forward, focusing only on the next step forward, and then the next, and then the next, growing better every day. Then suddenly, it seems, they are being heralded as visionary. That is how they did it. It's as simple as that, I promise you. It is not easy, no, but simple, yes. So, yes, you can be a visionary if you don't think you need to be a visionary or act like a visionary, as that will stunt you from doing what it takes to become one starting right now. So just start super small, insignificant even. Do something unscalable, unimpressive even, but do it with excellence, consistently and continually. And guess what? Your small, seemingly insignificant steps of progress will accumulate and, compound into massive results. So no, you don't need a grand vision of the future to achieve something great. You only need to crush that next step in front of you right now, today. So crush it with excellence, then look for the next step of progress. Tell us, what next step of progress are you going to crush today or this week? Share that with us in the comments below. Happy Friday, everyone. So Brenda is filling in for a friend at a local mortuary. A man who just died is delivered wearing an expensive, expertly tailored black suit. However, the widow says that she always thought her husband looked his best in blue and tells Brenda she wants him in a blue suit. She gives Brenda a blank check and says, "I don't care what it costs, but have my husband in a blue suit for the viewing." The widow returns the next day for the wake. To her delight, she finds her husband dressed in a gorgeous blue suit with a subtle chalk stripe. The suit fits him perfectly. She says to Brenda, "Whatever this costs, I'm very satisfied. You did an excellent job, and I'm very grateful. How much did you spend?" To her astonishment, Brenda gives her the blank check back. "There's no charge," she says. "No, really, I must compensate you for the cost of that exquisite blue suit," she says. Brenda says, "It costs nothing. A deceased gentleman about your husband's size was brought in shortly after you left yesterday and was wearing an attractive blue suit. I asked his wife if she minded him going to his grave wearing a black suit instead, and she said it made no difference as long as he looked nice. So I just switched the heads." So Allie is getting ready for a bath. When she's standing naked, there's a knock at the door. Allie calls out, "Who is it?" A voice answers, "A blind salesman." Allie decides to get a thrill by opening the door to the blind man while she's naked. She opens the door, the man looks straight at her and says, well, hello there. Can I interest you in some new blinds, dearie? All right, how about some innocent Kylie jokes? What do you call a group of people smoking weed? A joint coalition, led by the High Council. All meetings start with, "We the people." Kylie's dog accidentally ate a whole bag of Scrabble tiles. She took him to the vet, but no word yet. If a child refuses a nap, they are resisting arrest. What do you call a female spouse who's average? A midwife. Okay. Have a great weekend, everybody. See you on the flip side.